So this is chord to the octave, right hand, left hand, especially block only for the right hand, just because I wanted to emphasize the broken chords, which we use a lot more in songs than the block chords, unless you play romantic, big romantic pieces. But for the theory purpose, the block chords are there. So the right hand first. So the first right hand is C, E, G, and we double whatever's at the bottom, so that we call that chords to the octave. So it's still root position, we double what's at the bottom. And then the second bar in the right hand shows first inversion, E, G, C. So C slash E, note E is at the bottom, and we double the bottom up here. So that's C chord, first inversion, E note at the bottom. The third bar shows those whole notes again. It's G, C, E, and we double the G from the bottom up here. That's just for theory. When you're practicing, I'm hoping that, because most of you have fingers that are, hands that are smaller, I don't want you to be extending your hand and be in tension because you're trying to reach all four notes at the same time. So all of the whole notes you're seeing in the right hand at the beginning is just for theory explanation and chord symbols explanation. So let's practice the left hand. The fingering will be 5, 4, 2, 1 as written, and we're going to play C, E, G, and C. But this is a technique to practice for. Don't stretch, okay? You're like a little spider with 5 legs, and you're standing yoga pose on one leg solidly. So the hand is most relaxed when it's in closed position, where knuckles high, roundish feel like a ball under your hand. 5 on C, stretch your 4, I know it's hard for some of you, to the E. Once you reach it, release your pinky. Stand solidly like a spider doing yoga on that one leg, number 4. Then 4 to 2 is easy. So the 2 goes on G, and then I stretch up a little bit to get to C. And again, I don't play my C thumb lying down. Okay, if I show you the sideways, oh, it's not working today. So I'm not lying down on my side. My thumb is barely touching the keys, right only around that corner. First inversion, E, pinky. Again, stand solidly on that 5, knuckles popping out, and then number 4 on G. Release your pinky, because again, a spider standing on yoga pose on one leg, and then number 4 here on C, and release everything else. Don't play like this, so that your hand is relaxed on that one finger, and then same thing for the thumb. And the last inversion, G. Bring your hand over to stand solidly on that pinky. Number 3 on C. Release your pinky, stand solidly on 3. Then you notice 3 is really a strong finger. You can stand solidly more on it because it's right in the middle of your hand, right? And so take that feel in the hand on that very, very strong finger and try to imitate that feel in the other fingers. 2 also is a strong finger, so you have to stretch to 2 on E, and then thumb again on G. So pause the video and really look for the feel of like a spider standing on that one leg yoga pose, and eventually you'll be able to play it slightly faster. So try to play loud with perfect hand position. And then the last one, of course, it's not written for you, but you can just finish up going back to the root position. So then you could eventually get to. Then you can go back down. 1, 2, 4 on E, 5 on C. Then second inversion, G, 2 on E, 3 on C, 5 on G, 1 on E, 2 on C, 4 on G, 5 on E, and 1 on C, 2 on G, 4 on E, and we're back on pinky. That will be the correct technique. If you're playing like this, unless you have a very, very big hand, in which case you will not feel any tension in your forearm, you could do it perhaps. But for you to really have the strength and play big romantic music later on, I think it's important to be able to relax the hand standing on just that one finger. Right hand, C, 2 on E, again release your thumb, 3 on G. My hand is always in sort of relaxed closed position, and pinky on C. I bring my hand over. Then E, thumb, 2 on G, 4 on C. Relax your hand, and pinky on A. Bring your hand over. Then G, thumb, 2 on C, 4 on E, and pinky on G. And you can finish up C, even though it's not written, E, G, and C. Then we go down also. So C, pinky, 3 on G, release your pinky, 2 on E, thumb on C. Bring your hand over. Again, don't touch your thumb the whole side of your thumb, only just this corner touches. So your thumb is at an angle. Second inversion, 5 on G, 4 on E. I know it feels awkward. Release your pinky. 2 on C, thumb on G, bring your hand over, and 5 on E. Bring your hand standing solidly on that pinky, and this is a big stretch. 4 on C, release your pinky. 2 on G, thumb on E, and then 5 on C. Bring your hand over, feeling solid on that one pinky, and then 3 on G, 2 on E, and thumb on C. So stop the video and practice. Practice. It might take a few months before you actually get to this bit. And you notice that when I'm playing faster, there's a sort of slow, small little tiny circles in my wrist for it. Every time I play my thumb, it slides down out from the keys slightly, just slightly, and then I walk to the other fingers, and by the time I get to my pinky, my hand is slightly that way. I'm exaggerating, so you see, but it helps me to get there onto standing on my pinky solidly, and my wrist just basically does a sort of curvy little bit from the thumb to the pinky. It goes down, up, like a little U, a little shallow pond curve. And from the pinky down to the thumb, it's the reverse. It's a shallow, not very tall rainbow. So pinky is the highest point, and then you go, highest point is right here in the middle fingers, and then down. So I'm drawing, if I had a pencil right on my wrist, I would be drawing a small little rainbow. If there was a paper right here, and my pencil is on my wrist and it's really long, it'd be drawing a tiny little rainbow when I play from pinky to thumb. And if I play from thumb to pinky, it would be drawing a slight little shallow pond or U. So imagine that, or actually take a really long pencil and then with rubber band, you actually put it on your wrist. I don't have a really long pencil. I have a pen, but for purpose of demonstrating, right? Right there. And imagine that you are drawing either from thumb to pinky, you're drawing a very shallow U on that paper in front of you, this paper. Then you're drawing a very shallow U going from thumb to pinky. But those kind of wrist movements should be thought about after you've already practiced how to stand solidly on one finger and feeling like you are so solid on it, you can just throw your entire arm on it with the whole weight of your arm and it's standing solidly. And you'll find that, yes, on 3, it's easy, strong finger right in the middle of the hand. On 2, it's easy. On 4, maybe, but pinky certainly really not easy, and thumb certainly not easy, especially if you're playing and touching the entire side of your thumb. You can't do that with a wrist that's too low. You could see it also with the pen if your wrist is too low. So that's a lot of technique. Now, some people still play this with the wrong technique. And that's okay for, soft song where you're just accompanying and you don't need a lot of strength, and that's okay. And so depending on your goal, but in order to play this really loud in big romantic pieces and stuff like that, you will need the correct technique of just landing on one finger, like 1 foot of a spider, solidly landing on it.
Dr. Doe,
Yes.
I had a question regarding the shallow movements of the hand, like the rotation that
The
you were talking
rotation,
about.
yeah, the circles.
Is that executed with the whole arm, or is it just like a small movement of the wrist?
Okay, so for that, I think you need to see my body. So 1 second. Okay, so when I'm doing what is moving, not just the wrist is attached to your forearm, which is attached to your arm. So you can't just go like that and keep this, immobile. So everything goes together. And I'm exaggerating a lot of this motion, which is hand in number 1. Right? It's the same motion for hand in number 1, but your hand is not being extended for the chord to the octave, but it is the same motion of circle. And you can exaggerate the circle, but you see that it participates, everything participates, right? And it's not just here at the wrist.
Okay, thank you. I'm finding that like as an illustrator as well that a lot of like the hand movements in keeping your wrist straight and whatnot. I just wanted to clarify we are moving our whole arm
Oh, yeah,
as
of
well too.
course. Everything is
Yeah.
attached together.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
I
very
just
good
wanted to
question.
make sure if it wasn't just like a minute movement of the wrist versus
Yes,
like yeah, okay.
right.
Thank you.
And again, the analogy, if you're an illustrator and you're holding a pen or a brush or something, right? You don't want to tense up inside your wrist because then you can't really, like you're going to move like a robot. So the inside of the wrist always feels like it's free inside. There's no tension. And there are a few composers like Prokofiev and some Bartok. I mean, it depends. Some contemporary music where you want that sound that you have, the harsh sound when you're attacking like this. You're still using the whole arm, but the wrist is kind of not relaxed at all. Or you could have a fuller sound if there is flexibility. Does it mean I have to see? Do I have to see the rotation? No, you don't. Because once you absorb that physical sensation, you can reproduce it with very little. You don't have to do the big circle. Sometimes some teachers tell you to do the big circles just so that you feel it more and that you're relaxing your wrist more. But the ultimate thing is how you feel on the inside. So anything with a flexible wrist, and the flexible wrist again goes for me hand in hand with the very, very, what do I call it? Basic technique, that understanding of the fact that you just put your hand like this, first of all. It's more relaxed than this. Well, how you play the piano. So accordionists have it good. Their hands are like this on the accordion. And when you're turning your hand, immediately you should feel something in the forearm. It's very slight, but it's there. And so you're building awareness of the body by feeling, oh yeah, this feels more comfortable. It's like resting. And when I turn my hand, even though I'm resting, there's something that goes on in the muscle here, right? So, okay, so how do I relax all of that while resting? Well, I need to be feeling like I'm standing solid on that one finger. So we could take number 3 because it's the strongest finger. You could take the other hand, push your knuckles up, and see if it could help. Now, can I let go and see if I could just stand on that one strong finger and still being relatively relaxed here? And there's less tension there in the forearm. And that this is basically the same angle as I would be if I was just standing and releasing my arm. This is the same angle. So each of us have a slightly different angle at this point between the top of your hand and the top of your forearm. Some of us are a little bit more like this, naturally speaking, when you're dangling. It's whatever angle you have here when you're just dangling your arm is the same angle that you should have on the piano. So that's more basic to know that. And the other basic is to know that you could stand solidly on one finger and you can drop the entire arm on it and get a really loud sound where the tip of your fingers is strengthened, but you are loose in the wrist, even though you're dropping. And so if you carry that knowledge into your chords to the octave, it's better than just hitting all the notes. You can also practice really, really soft and have a, spread out flat fingers, hand kind of thing. And it's okay if you are never going to be playing big romantic music where you need to play those chords to the octave really loud and fast. That's okay too. This is investment for the